It is a hot and humid day in the mountains of southern Appalachia. Very hot outside. A lot of you I know have been having a real heat wave like we have too. Early this morning, Matt and I got out and did the yard, did all the weed eating and the mowing, and tried to start real early and got most of it done before the sun really started shining on us. For the rest of the day, I've just been inside working, but now it's time for supper. Got to start thinking about supper. First of all, though, I'm starting with dessert first. I'm going to make us up really quick some cookies, some peanut butter cookies. I've shared this recipe in a video before, so you may have seen it. And then I also have it on the Blind Pig and the Acorn on my blog, so I will link to that so that you can go and read all about it there. See all the ingredients. Of course, you can jot them down while I'm telling about them here too. I found this recipe. I've always loved peanut butter cookies, but I never really made them much. I don't know why. When me and Matt was first married, or even after we've been married a long time, I just never made them much, but I always like them. And if I went to a potluck or something and there was some peanut butter cookies, I'd always make sure to get one. In 2015, Pap was cleaning the fellowship hall at church and he fell and broke his hip. And once he come home from the hospital, luckily he didn't have to have surgery. His hip, actually, the doctor said it was a miracle. It healed like a young man's, what he told Pap the day that he gave us the final results and discharged Pap. I was with him. He said, me and you, we're not supposed to heal like that. She is. She's supposed to heal up like that, but not me and you. But he did. He healed up from it. So it was really a miracle there. Anyway, he did spend a short amount of time having to use a walker, and when he first come home, in a wheelchair. So Granny's house had to be decluttered so that it would fit through the areas, fit through the hallways, and up against the bed, and I'm thinking about all the things like that. So we helped her. Me and Corey and Katie helped her kind of clean things up, and while we did that, we went through stuff. Well, when we were doing that, way in the back of a closet, I found some cookbooks that me and Matt had actually give Granny for Christmas back in like 2004 or something. This was like 2015. I'll try to put the link to them down below too if you might be something you'd be interested in. It was actually produced by the Cades Cove Preservation Association, and there's 2 volumes of it. You kind of got to you really just need to get both of them because of the way they're set up. But volume 1 and 2, recipes, remedies, and rumors. So really interesting cookbooks. They've got all kinds of things in them. They kind of overlap, like there's several peanut butter cookie recipes in them, and they kind of overlap, but they're really interesting because they've got stories and pictures and stuff from those families that called Cades Cove home so long ago, and they're both about that thick. They're really thick books. Anyway, I decided, or that day I said, Granny, why have you got these at the back of the closet? You've never even used them. She said, well, you need to take them home and use them. And so I did. Since she wasn't using them, I took them home. So it's after that I wanted to make peanut butter cookies one day, and I was flipping through them. I thought, I wonder if they've got a recipe. They had several, but I chose Lydia Ledbetter's peanut butter cookies to bake that day, and we liked them so much that I've been making them ever since. We really enjoy them. They're slightly different than most peanut butter cookie recipes, in that they use self-rising flour, but the recipe also has additional leavening in it, which is interesting, and that's probably why I chose that one in the first place, just because it's an interesting tweak to a recipe that you usually don't see. Might be too because I used to have a boy that was a Ledbetter ride my bus when I was in school, and even in high school he still rode it. So what you need to make the cookies, though, I've already got my ingredients, is 1/2 cup of shortening, and I'm going to use actually coconut oil today, so we're going to see how that works. I think it'll be okay. I guess you could use butter too. 1/2 cup of white sugar, 1 egg, 1 1/4 cup of self-rising flour, that's that weird part, and then some of the leavening is 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Baking sody is what Pap and Granny would say. 1/2 cup of peanut butter, 1/4 cup brown sugar, which I did not get out now that I'm looking, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, more of the leavening, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So it has all the other leavening, but it also uses self-rising flour, which I think is really interesting. So we're going to beat the shortening, or in this case my coconut oil, and peanut butter until mixed. Add both sugars, mix well. Add egg, mix well. Mix flour, soda, salt, baking powder together. You could sift it together or just stir it up. And then we're going to add it to the peanut butter mixture and mix it till it comes to makes a cookie dough. And it'll be stiff. And then we're going to just pinch off little balls of it and roll them up. And it depends on how big you want your cookies or how small you want your cookies. That'll just be personal preference. And her recipe did not say to do this step, but I do it, is that I roll those little balls in some sugar just to give it a little crunch. And then when I put them on the ungreased cookie sheet before I put them in the oven, I use my forks to do like a crosshatch little pattern on them, like a lot of old-timey peanut butter recipes do. I do that too. And then the other thing that's really interesting about this cookie recipe is that it bakes at a really hot oven, 425. So they bake really quickly, but that works out okay for me, so I just keep doing it. And in my oven takes about 6 minutes. You'd have to really just pay attention in yours. And I've noticed, cookies are like that. It seems like you're waiting for them to get done, and then if you don't watch it, they'll be burnt before you know it. So you got to keep an eye on them till you figure out the time for your oven. So, and another interesting thing about this recipe is you can make up the dough and then just put it in the refrigerator and make it a little bit at a time if you wanted those fresh hot cookies, or if you wanted to make it a day ahead, so that then you could do the rest of actually just making the cookies the next day. I never do that. I should, but I never do that. So now I'm going to go over to the mixer and just get them all mixed up, and then we'll put them in the oven. I was making the cookies. Some of you may have noticed that I used a guard. If you've seen my recent video about raspberry trifle, you've seen the big mess I made. A lot of you said, Tipper, what you need to get a guard for your mixer. I had a guard. It come with a guard. But with my other mixer, I always got aggravated at the guard, and I didn't really need it. It never did throw stuff out. But definitely I'm going to have to use it with this one, I think. So I used it today, and I didn't make no giant mess, which is good. So I'm going to clean up my mess, and then I'm going to tell you or show you what I'm going to make for supper. It's going to be really good, but it's very, very simple and kind of a lighter supper than we normally eat, but I know it's going to be really good. So I got the cookies all cleaned up, that mess. I've got them out over here. I did exactly what I told you not to do with the first batch. I let them stay in the oven too long. They're still good, but they're a little bit too done. The second batch, which was much smaller, are just perfect, but even the other ones are good. Anyway, now I'm ready to actually start on supper now that I've got us something for dessert. And of course, we've already tried them. Matt's already tried them, and I have too, and they're good. I'm going to make something really easy that I like to make during the summer when we have garden stuff coming in. It's very simple though, and it's a zucchini pie, but it's a savory zucchini pie. And the recipe is in mine and Jim's cookbook, Celebrating Southern Appalachian Food. I'll put the link in the description below if you're interested. And this is on page 107, The Bounty of Summer. This is the little intro to the chapter I'll read you. When mountain gardens are laid by and the fruits of weeks of labor begin to cascade down in a glorious fashion formed by daily harvest, work transitions from the garden to canning, freezing, or otherwise processing. It also means a veritable embarrassment of riches in terms of food choices. For both of us, this has traditionally been the time of year more than any other when vegetables reign supreme on the family table and when meals often are meatless or maybe just have some kind of meat gravy. So true. Is the best eating of the year is when the garden stuff starts coming in. And we're getting zucchini and squash. Of course, we've had all the spring stuff. And cabbage is ready, but we hadn't got any of it up. And most of it, we'll eat a little bit of it fresh, but most of it we'll put up. And I know I have some cucumbers out there. I'm going to make a salad to go with this, so I'll go hunting for a cucumber in a minute. Don't have no tomatoes yet. Our very first cucumber I took to Granny because she loves them so much. Now, we planted her some, but she just don't have any yet. But the first one out there that's big enough to eat, I took to Granny. So this zucchini pie, let me tell you what's in it. Actually, before I tell you that, let me tell you something else. If you're wondering about my beautiful hydrangea here, these come from Granny's yard. She has a couple of hydrangea. She has this beautiful purple or lilac color, and she has a blue one, really pretty. She's always been trying to give me pieces of them, and I never have got one from her. But about a week ago, she called and told me she had noticed she's looking off her porch. Just went out on the porch so she could look around, and she noticed this one had started 2 little ones. That's what she thought. She wanted me to get one of them and Corey to get one of them. Well, the first day I went to get it, I got in there and inside and started talking to her and Paul, and I stayed so long that I didn't have time to get the hydrangea before I went back home. I had something I had to do. So the next time I went with shovel in hand and said, I'm gonna get the hydrangeas. But when I went out there, what had really happened is the stem was so long, it had laid down, and then the blooms had come back up. So it was really just attached to her same hydrangea. It hadn't started any new ones. But I was able to get my shovel down in there really close to it, and I got 2 of the sprigs she wanted me to, and they did have roots about that big on them. So I've got them in some water outside. Corey was gone on a trip when I got them, so I just brought both of them back up here, and I'm letting them just stay in that water to see if maybe the roots will get bigger. I hope so. But anyway, my beautiful hydrangeas from Granny. So for the zucchini pie, you need 2 teaspoons of mustard, and that's optional. If you didn't want to use that, you don't have to. An unbaked pie shell, 4 cups of thin sliced zucchini, that's straight from our garden there, 1 cup of chopped onion, 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of butter, 2 teaspoons chopped parsley, that's from my garden too, that's so nice to have it out there, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon pepper, 1/2 teaspoon basil. I was able to go out and get my basil too. 2 eggs, 8 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese. Now, if you didn't have fresh herbs, you could use dried, it would be fine, or you could leave them out, or you could use whatever you wanted to use, would be okay too. So now to actually put it together, we're going to take our pie shell and that mustard, and you just spread it on the bottom of it. Spread it on the bottom if you want it. If you don't like mustard, you can leave it out. And then we're going to cook zucchini, onion, and butter for 10 minutes until tender and begin to becoming translucent, just where it starts looking translucent. We're going to stir in the parsley, salt, garlic powder, pepper, and basil, and combine eggs and cheese and add to zucchini mixture. We're just going to mix out everything together. Stir well and pour into prepared crust. Bake at 375 for 20 minutes or until lightly browned, and then we're going to let it stand 10 minutes before serving. So it's sort of like a quiche, but not really either, because it just doesn't have enough eggs. It's not eggy as a quiche. It's mostly just the zucchini and the cheese and the onions and the spices and the crust that you taste. You don't really notice the eggs as much, just a little bit. But it goes really good. It makes a really easy, quick supper to have that and have like a salad. Matt is going to make some deer meat. He thinks he has to have meat, so he's going to make us some deer meat. And then that's all we're going to have is the deer meat, the pie, and I'm going to go outside and see if I can scrounge around and get enough for a little salad. And that will just be a delicious supper. And like the intro to our chapter here, it will just have that taste of freshness because of the fresh things from our garden. It's going to be really good. But we'll go over here to the stove and start cooking the zucchini and the onion in the butter. It doesn't take long to put it together either. Well, the butter's melting. I'm going to go ahead and put the mustard on the bottom of our pie shell here. Once the butter's melted, I'm going to add my onions and the zucchini, and we'll let that cook for about 10 minutes. Okay, it's been cooking for about 10 minutes. Now we're just going to start adding all the other things. Here's some of the spices there. There's the dried spices, and there's the parsley and the basil from the garden. It'd be good to eat just like that. And we're going to add the cheese and the eggs. You can see it's already getting wonderfully cheesy. And now we're ready to put it in the pie shell. The way the zucchinis show up through the rest of it makes it a real pretty thing to eat too. So I'm going to put it in the oven for 20 minutes, and while it's cooking I'm going to go out and see what I can find for our salad. We've got lots of little Tommy toes. You can see them back through there, but none ripe. Lots of the Cherokee purple too, but again, none ripe. The tomatoes look really pretty though. They look great. This is our Malabar spinach. It's just now starting to climb up the trellis. I'm going to get some of the smaller leaves though for our salad. The smaller they are, the more tender they are. They do have, Malabar spinach does have the kind of a slimy mouthfeel. It's kind of thick, kind of the same thing as okra, but once you cook it, that goes away if you don't like that, which it doesn't bother us. This one's growing way out here. I probably should pull the whole thing up. I did pull that one up. As I look for the cucumbers, there's a little bitty one. I think that would be great. I think there's any others. Of course, I'm always looking for the squash bugs. I feel like I should just put a camp chair out here and sit and watch for them. Of course, there's, as I've been watching the tomato, or the cucumbers, you wouldn't believe how many times I've been out here. Look at that one. That one's kind of getting on the big side, but it was over here under the edge of the trellis and I just didn't even see it. I was too busy looking for the bugs. Maybe some more in there hiding. I don't see any others. Oh yeah, I do see one way back in there. There's another big one. I need to be worrying more about cucumbers and less about the bugs, but of course, the bugs are eating my cucumbers is how it happens. There's a little one starting, you can see a bunch of little ones right there. Oh, there was a squash bug, but I missed it. Look right here. This is one of our volunteer plants, so I'm still not exactly sure what that is, because it doesn't really look like a pumpkin. It doesn't look like a butternut. I thought it was a butternut, but now I don't know. There's a little one of whatever it is. Here's the hydrangeas I have in water. They've got some pretty good roots on them. I think that they'll live. I'm gonna leave them in the water though for a little bit longer. And I'm gonna pull up some of these onions though while I'm out here, so I can put those in our salad. It should be enough. Went ahead and cleaned them up while I was out here, and I've done something I've never done because all of you keep encouraging me. I replanted the bottoms. We'll see if they come up. I replanted the roots, so maybe they will. I got some kale and some lettuce, so all that together, along with some store-bought tomatoes I've got, should make a really good salad. If you waited longer, it would be firmer, but in this house, we can never wait. Can we, Matt?
It's time to eat.
But it would firm up more. It's pretty firm now, but you can see it's really looks beautiful. I think how you can see the zucchini on the top makes it really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Our salads turned out nice with the kale, the lettuce, and the spinach, and then I just cut up a store-bought tomato. The rest of it come from the yard, and our cucumber, and our onions. So that'll be really good. Of course, Matt's deer meat is always good. We've already sampled a piece, and it's good. So let's see. You want to taste the squash pie?
Mm-hmm.
If you waited, like I said, if you waited, it would firm up nicely, but we can't never wait. We don't believe in waiting around here. Hot, but good.
That was nice.
So you don't notice the mustard overly, do you?
No, not at all.
But if you don't like mustard, just leave that part out, and it'll still really be good.
It's fantastic.
It goes really nicely with the salad, and of course it goes nicely with the deer meat too.
Deer meat go good with an old shoe. Very good.
It's really good. The best thing about it is that this is the beginnings, which we've eaten a little bit out of the garden, but it's like this is the beginning of the best time of the year for eating. Once the tomatoes start coming in, we've already been enjoying the zucchini and the squash, but get a big tomato, and then when the corn comes in, then if you just have cornbread, a roasting ear, a corn, ear of corn boiled, and a tomato cut up, and a cucumber, that's just like feast time, isn't it?
That's the best eating of the year for sure.
For sure. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing how to make this really simple, easy summertime recipe. I don't ever make it in the winter, but when our zucchini start coming in is the best time to make it. We're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia.
That is lovely. I can do that right there. I think.
Save Katie's for her. What kind of dressing do you want? Save her salad for her till she can eat. I don't know if you want salt or not, but
Absolutely.
I've been eating this sesame ginger and really liking it. I don't know as much about the ginger as I am.
Not really. I mean, it's good for you in the right way. I like this flamey vinegar stuff. Awful well.
This is kind of got a wang to it. It's like a beast. Oh, and we got cookies for dessert. I forgot all about that.
That'll be nice.